Hi.
Hi, are you sure you can prepare for product based companies through this course?
Yes, sitting at home?
No way!
Yes, way. Don't delay. Enroll now.
Geeks learning together.
Hi, everybody. This is Aishwarya from GeeksforGeeks, and I'll be the host for today's webinar that is based on interview preparation strategies. And yeah, so before starting, I just want you guys to start some chit chat in the comment section, or I would say help me out if I'm perfectly audible to you guys or not. You can just put a thumbs up, audible, yes, in the comment section, and then we'll quickly begin, take forward our session. Um, I'll be waiting for your responses. Meanwhile, assuming that I'm audible to you guys, I just wanted to say that there is a particular form that we are adding in our descriptions, in which you can fill up your entries if you want to be part of our any of our webinar series. So, if there is an interview experience webinar, there will be a form of interview experience sheet. You can fill the form, and the link will be in the description. And if it will be a live mock interview, you'll get the form of the participation in live mock interview. So you can go for it. Thank you so much, guys, for being so responsive in the comment section. Thank you, Ayush. Thank you, Dharminder. Thank you, Ayush. Okay, thank you so much, guys. So for today's interview experience webinar, we have Sakshi with us. She has 2.5 years of experience, and yeah, so I'll quickly add her to the stream, and we'll quickly begin with the webinar. So let me add her to the stream. Yes. Hey Sakshi, how are you?
Hey Aishwarya, I'm good. How are you?
I'm also good. So how is work?
Work today was off, so it was good. But
Yeah.
like rest of the days, it's normal. Not so much of hectic work. So it's good.
Okay. So cool. So Sakshi, before moving forward, our audience would love to know about you so that they can frame their questions as queries after the session, and just check out that how could you help them. So let's begin with a quick introduction of yours. So and which
Okay.
also compiles your 2.5 years. So let's begin with
Okay.
that.
Okay. So hi everyone. My name is Sakshi, and I have around 2.5 years of experience as a front-end developer. I have previously worked with TCS for around sums up my 2 years, and I've been working with Accenture since past few months. And my technical skills include React.js, JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and React Native. Apart from my work, I sometimes like to read some books. So that's a brief introduction about me.
Okay, that's good. Now, let's move forward to the question on which this webinar series is actually based upon, basically the interview rounds. So, as this is the interview you have given for Accenture, after how many years? Like 2.5 years. If you change, if I see, if you have changed the company.
This interview I gave after working, yes, yeah.
Yeah. So let's begin with this interview. What were the rounds in the interview? How you prepared for it? What was the difficulty level? And please do also tell us that how was it different from your first interview? So how one should mold themselves over those years for the interview. So
Uh,
we'll start with that.
so let me start from my first interview that I gave in back in college for my college placements for TCS. So that interview was, I mean, it was first we had in college, as every college has a aptitude round. Then after that we had technical round. So in technical round, we had a panel of around 3 to 4 members. They asked me different questions, and some sort of like I tried to answer them all and I got in. But coming back to this, my recent interview, so this was quite different. So one main reason was we all are sitting at home. So this was just like we are having this webinar. It was similar to that, and it was
Okay.
just one single person. We were talking just like me and you are talking right now. So, and apart from that, the questions and rounds. So, the first round that I had was one online assessment. and it was based around my what I have mentioned in my resume, my technical skills like React.js, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. It was based around that. There were around 20 to 25 questions, and I had around 1.5 hours to answer them. They were multiple choice questions plus some questions based on what will be the output of this particular. There was a snippet of code, and I had to. From the options, I have to find out which is the correct output, and
Okay.
then if I clear that, we move on to technical round. So technical round was fully based on my technical skills. I was asked questions around React.js, how it works, and what is, so like, one thing that makes it so famous. Then I was asked basic HTML, CSS, JavaScript questions. So that sums up my technical round. After this was done, I had my final round, that was an HR round. So in that, I was asked questions about my experience in 2.5 years, what I have done, what are the challenges that I face, those kind of questions. And then finally, I was in.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So that was great. So, if I talk about your first interview, it will take this there. So,
Okay.
how would you say that how a person should frame their, preparation strategies, like when they're
Okay.
going for the first time, when they're going after a few years of experience?
Okay. So first time, I think when you are in college, companies don't expect much out of you because you are a fresher. You don't know how an organization work, what kind of work will be assigned to you in future. They just want that you have a basic skill over which you can build, like you have a foundation and over which you can build your rest of the skills that will be required on your work. So basics, as in, I when I sat for my interview, the basics were around some programming skills. So they were mainly for Java, because Java is a very old language and most of the tests are around Java. So there's no escape. You have to learn it, or you have to mug up whatever works for you. Just do it. So that's for the college. Like most of the colleges, they have their own teachers and guides to help you out. So don't worry about that. You'll have the right guidance in your college. And when coming back to interviewing, interviewing after 2.5 years of experience, that is an entirely different experience, because at that time you have worked in an industry, you know how it works, you know what you were doing in 2.5 years. So they are going to ask you the questions about what you have done and what they are expecting in the new role that you will be assigned to. So based on the job description that was given when you applied for the role, they will be asking question based on that, because you will be aligned with that role. In college, you don't have any specific role that okay, you'll be doing working in this domain or in this domain, because you will have a training period of 3 months. But after an experienced professional, you will be expected to work as soon as you onboard. So that is the main difference in college and in experienced professional interview.
Okay. Thank you so much for the answer, Sakshi. Now, moving ahead, we would like to know about your coding journey, that how it started, how you started getting religion towards coding. So, please tell our audience.
Okay, so this is kind of a funny story, because in my college, I'm not a CS background student. First of all, I'm an electronics and communication engineering student, and somehow it happened that I got into an IT company. My first job was in TCS, and I was given a role of a developer. And at that time, I did have some basic programming skills, but not so much. Like, I was afraid of coding, to be frank, because I've never had any interest in coding, and that was one of the reasons why I took EC to escape coding. But I had no idea that it's just running behind me, and it's gonna come back, because now we are in an era where you can't escape programming, even if you are in,
Absolutely right.
yet like there will be the languages will be different, but it will be there even in ECE or in any other
Absolutely
domain,
correct.
it will be there. So when I came in, I started working. I had a very basic understanding, but then I had no other option. I had to learn, I had to work, I had to survive. So for that, I started learning coding. I started
Okay.
practicing for because I was working with React Native and React.js, so main programming language is JavaScript for that. So I started learning JavaScript, and somehow I got interested. So one or the other way, it just worked for me. I got interested. Then lockdown happened, and I got more time to explore JavaScript, to explore other domains, how it works,
Okay.
what I can do with this. And that's how my coding journey just, that's what made me where I am today. And trust me, I'm not like, I won't say that I know a hell lot of things, I'm a very good coder or something like that, but I am surviving and I'm learning each day. So that's how it works. You have to, you don't stop learning ever in this domain, because technology is evolving every day, so you have to keep on learning.
Exactly.
So that's my coding journey.
Okay, that was interesting. So now that will be now the question is about some advice. So what do you think is the role of projects and internship in a resume, and what role they play when a candidate goes for the interview? Do they affect their like you have gained experience over the years? Do these projects and internships affect your interviews till now, or they are just still your first interview? So please share your thoughts.
So in my first interview, the internships, yes, they did matter because I was a college graduate, and the least experience that I could gain was from internships. So that did matter. And apart from that, projects in my college, I built some projects, but they were basically built because my college made me to. I didn't build them out of interest. So that's one difference in my projects back then and now. So now when I build something, or I'm learning something, I try to implement that learning, even if it's just a small project, it's just for me, but I try to implement that, so that when I write that, I know HTML, I know CSS, I know JavaScript, I have something to showcase. Like if the interviewer asks, okay, you know this, but how do you convince me that you are efficient in this? So I can show them my projects, that when I was learning, I built these projects, and he'll be up to some extent convinced that okay, she knows what she's doing. So that's the role
Right.
of projects in your experience life. And internships plus projects in your college, they just expect you to know the least. Internships are basically, they expect you to do internship, because then you'll get an idea how to work in a team, how to build your team skills,
Right.
how to get the work done. Those are the main skills that you get from internships, apart from the work you do. So that's why internships are more important in college.
Okay. So that's it from my side, Sakshi. My
Okay.
questions are here over, and I now the questions will be asked by our audience. So I would request all our viewers to drop in their questions and queries in the comment section, so that I'll pick those, and Sakshi can help you with your queries. So let's begin with
Okay.
those with our Q&A session.
Okay.
So I'll just check. Okay, let's take this question by Mayuresh. There is any difficulty when mechanical student transform to the CSE job with well preparation? Guide about that.
Okay. So I don't think you will have any difficulty if you really want to do this, because there are multiple resources available for free on the internet. First of all, as we are talking, Geeks for Geeks is a very good platform. You can get interview, yeah, right. So you can get interview experience over there. As I'm talking about my interview, there are many other series that they are doing. So it's a very good work. And apart from that, if you go to Geeks for Geeks website, you have DSN Elgo, you have anything you want to learn. Like it's a very good platform. Apart from that, there are several other platforms and mentors, so you can learn from that Just start very basic. Don't think about, okay, people know so much, I'm just starting from scratch. I know, I have had that phobia. So people will have that feeling, but once you start learning, once you gain some experience, you'll build it slowly. So it will take time, but yes, it is very much possible. And for the jobs, like if you are concerned, okay, you have mechanical background, you want to switch to a coding role, will you get a job? If you are qualified, if you have skills, if you have built projects, of course you will get the job. There is no like no one can stop you if you have projects in line. So like you can definitely do that. If I have done that, obviously you can do that too.
Okay, so let's take up our next question by Shubham. He's asking how to get started to learn front end development for a front end developer.
Okay. So for front-end development, the three core principles that work behind front-end development is HTML, CSS, JavaScript. These all three are what you need to get started as a front-end developer. HTML, CSS, JavaScript, you can learn. You just go to YouTube or Google, you just type HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and you will get 1,000 of courses. One I would like to mention from if you are starting from scratch, just go to there's one website called Code Academy. They have very good courses for beginners. They have very basic, and they won't just make you sit and see tutorials. You will actually code there. You'll actually work with IDE, and that's a very good platform. Apart from that, there are various platforms. So my advice would be if you are just starting in front-end development, first learn the basics, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, because people nowadays they jump to frameworks, React, JS, Angular, JS. There are so many. But if you learn HTML, CSS, JavaScript, it will be very easier for you to jump to any framework. So that would be my advice.
Okay. Next, we'll take question from. I think I saw this pretty good. Okay, Akhil Sharma is asking tell about your work-life balance in TCS and Accenture. A comparison.
Okay, so that's a very good question. Is it? Okay, Akhil, thank you. So work-life balance, I think it's pretty much the same, because in TCS also I never had, there are times when the work gets hectic, because there are certain days when the requirements are very, there are deadlines approaching and you have to work late.
Right.
So but those are also part of your work, so you got to enjoy that, because there's no other, that's a part of your job, you have to do it. And work life balance is pretty good in Accenture also, in TCS also. It's a very, it's not much tiring. You go to office. Nowadays we are just working from home, but still it's the same for me. Work starts like the usuals are 9 o'clock, and it ends like it used to in office, so it's pretty much the same. And I don't face any difficulty, so it's good.
Okay, great. How to? Can you get this question by Ankur Bajaj? Uh,
Okay, how to improve logic? Okay, logical thinking. I think he's talking about logical thinking.
yeah, I guess.
So I think logical thinking comes from problem solving. If you solve a lot of problems, like data searches and algorithms for a start, they seem very difficult. Even I am not much good with DS and algo, to be frank. I am not. But if you want to build logical thinking, just take a problem. For example, there is a website called Front End Mentor. Okay, if you are working on your front end skills, go to that website. There are multiple challenges over there. Just take up a challenge, try to solve it, and as you solve it, you will come across various problems. So then you'll think, okay, how should I solve this? Once you do two, three, four, five challenges, you will build a, problem solving skill, and with that, you logic will come eventually. When you see a problem next time, the same kind of problem, you instantly have the answer. You don't have to look up. So I think that's how you build. You just need practice for logic and problem solving both.
Okay, let's pick up our last question now,
Okay.
which is by Shubham Gupta. Tell the important and easiest thing to learn fast for a non-IT guy, which programming language.
So first of all, if you are looking for important and easiest, those are though that's not possible because if it is important, it can't be easy. First of all, if it is important, it can't be easy. It will be hard because when you start learning something
Yeah.
new, okay, just take a basic skills like cooking. I am very basic at cooking, but if you are someone who just don't know cooking, and it's a very basic skill, so if you start learning that, you'll find it hard at first. But once you cook something, first it will be bad, second one will be better, third one might be good, so you'll get used to it, you'll get better, good at it. So that's how programming and any other habit or any other thing that you want to learn, any other skill, that's how it works. First of all, it's not going to be easy because you have never done that before, so it will be hard for you. But after you get a hands on it, I think it will be easier. And the second part for non-IT guy, I think most of the IT guys before were non-IT. take an example. Like I was not into IT first. I learned it through my journey. So once you get into IT, you learn. But first of all, you have to start. Don't think like, okay, this I just want to learn what is easy. No, you can't. This doesn't work because as I said, important and easy, those two go hand in hand.
Okay, cool. So let's wind up our session, our Q&A session here only, as we are
Okay.
running out of time. Yeah, so thank you so much to our viewers for being so active in asking the queries in the comment section, and thank you so much, Sakshi, for answering those
Yeah,
questions.
no
Yeah,
problem. It was my
so
pleasure.
now I just want to ask one more question from you.
Mhm.
Just the winding up of webinar, we want to
Okay.
our audience would like to have some tips and tricks for themselves, which they should keep in mind when they are preparing for their interview.
Okay. So, tips and trick. First of all, you should be sure what role you are applying to. So, first, when you are going to apply for a role, just read the role description very carefully. What they are asking for, because if you don't read it very carefully, then in interview you might have surprises. You won't. You will be like, okay, this I don't know this. Then the interviewer might think that you are not fit for the role, but you need to apply for what you know. Like read the role description. That will be first tip. Then second one, you might not be successful at your very first interview or second or third. You might have to give multiple interviews. So from those interviews, from the interviews that you failed, learn from those. So what I used to do is when I gave an interview, whether it was good or bad, I used to write down the questions that I was not able to answer, or I would have answered better. So I would note down those, then I would work upon those later on. And if I get those questions again in any other interview, I know I will be prepared. So that's another tip. And the third one would be read interview experiences of another candidates for the company that you're applying for. Like you can use Geek4Geeks for that. So those will be
Yes,
my
guys.
tips.
Use Geeksful. Okay. So thank you so much, Sakshi, for helping our viewers out in their queries and also answering the questions for us. And a major thank you to you for being on this session and conducting this session for us. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Ishwara. Thank you so much for having me. It was great talking to you. Thank you, guys.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Bye bye. Take care. All the best.
Bye bye.
So, guys, that was it. That was pretty insightful, that session. Yeah. So, I hope that your doubts and queries have got clarified through this session. And yes, as I always say, that if we've missed your queries, it's not the end. We'll be back again with some other session and your queries will be answered there. But only you have to put your queries in the comment section a bit earlier. So, yeah, that was it. Any announcement? Yes, the major was that if you want to be a part of the webinar series, you can fill up the form. We'll connect with you, and yes, we'll do that. But if you don't want to fill up the form, you can also mail us your resume with an introduction at aishwarya.singh@geeksforgeeks.org or akshay.bhaskar@geeksforgeeks.org. We'll see your resume, we'll check your introduction, and we'll connect with you. Moreover, as we know that our frequency has been increased, the webinar frequency has been increased a lot, and there are a lot of contests and events going on also. So, if you want to keep yourself updated, there is a link below in the description, which is the link of our events page, which will make you look into all our events or webinars that happened and that are going to happen and that are happening. So if you want a detailed calendar of every event that is going on around Geeks for Geeks, you should check out that link. Guys, we'll be back with other webinars. And yes, also your feedback. I'm always telling you guys, if you want us to improve on anything, if you want some other webinar series that we might do or we might launch or we might start, so just shoot a feedback to us, or you can also write us an email. I have already provided you the email ID. You can also write us an email that, okay, this webinar, you want this type of content, we want this particular modification. We will do that for you. Just we want your feedback so that we can help you grow better. That will help us in delivering you better content, right? So guys, just stay tuned, and keep checking out our pages, and do subscribe our YouTube channel. And yes, we'll be back with another webinar tomorrow and day after tomorrow, and they're ready the next day. Yeah, till then, take care, good night, and yeah, bye bye, all the best.